here is Donald Trump in addressing this story of the journalist Jamal Khashoggi, who reportedly was either killed or disappeared by Saudi intelligence. And apparently the United States was aware of this. Here is Donald Trump responding to this, which, so much for American leadership. I mean, I guess our billions of dollars worth of arms sales isn't getting us too much influence.
I am concerned about it. I don't like hearing about it. And hopefully that will sort itself out. Right now, nobody knows anything about it, but there's some pretty bad stories going around. I do not like it. Thank you. I'll see you.
I don't like it. I haven't checked with my own intelligence services, which apparently knew about it. I don't know.
It's disrupting my favorite programming.
You'll recall that, I guess this was about maybe almost a year ago when Mohammed bin Salman, was this about a year ago or was this 2 years ago? There was a publicity tour, essentially, that Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince, is he the Crown Prince?
The Crown Prince.
Of Saudi Arabia, was coming in to talk about, women are going to get a chance to drive. We are moving into the 21st century. We have movie theaters. Maybe we're going to open a McDonald's. We're a new kind of Saudi Arabia. In fact, we have feted, we just had Thomas Friedman over for a wonderful dinner. And here he is. Thomas Friedman, is there any one individual who has more blatantly gotten more things wrong, but ostensibly from a thoughtful position about the Middle East than Thomas Friedman? I don't know. Suck on that for a moment as you listen to this.
I got news for you. The entire Arab world is dysfunctional right now, completely dysfunctional. And I think it has the potential to be a giant Yemen, a giant human disaster area. And so when I see someone having the balls to take on the religious component of that, to take on the economic component, to take on the with all of his flaws, okay, and with all due respect to his cousins, not a one of them would have had the balls to do that. That I want to invest just a little. I just want to stick my head up and say, God, I hope you succeed. And when you do that, the holy hell comes down on you. Okay, well, fuck that. Okay, is my view. Okay, so.
There's nothing better than Thomas Friedman being completely wrong, but swearing to make it seem like I'm not going to conform to what every other establishment figure is actually conforming to.
Bloomberg didn't say balls when he had coffee with the guy.
This is what is so reactionary about. This is the definition of reactionary, right? Like, he is actually subscribing to the completely mainstream establishment worldview, but he's making it like I'm a rebel. So I don't care. Like, I got a leather jacket on. I'm going to say, F you. I'm just going for the guy because Yemen is a disaster area. So I'm going to support the guy who's going to make it even more of a disaster.
The whole region could look like the guy who I support is doing to one country where he's committing mass murder. I want to say we did dunk on him a lot in last night's post game, but I have to repeat. There's a column that came out 2 days ago by Thomas Friedman called "Praying for Jamal Khashoggi." Saudi Arabia stands accused of killing him. If it did, it will be a disaster for the regime of Mohammed bin Salman. And I just want to read the first two paragraphs, if you'll permit me, because there's a quote in here. You need to guess whose quote this is, and just stipulate that maybe in the best case scenario, this guy hasn't been killed yet. Maybe he's just being detained, although all evidence points to he's been killed. Last November 7th, I wrote a column about the new Saudi crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman. It ended this way. And the column was, by the way, called Arab Spring Saudi Style. She doesn't mention. As a veteran Saudi journalist remarked to me of MBS, this guy saved Saudi Arabia from slow death, but he needs to broaden his base. It is good that he's freeing the House of Saudi influence of the clergy, but he's also not allowing any second opinion of his political and economic decisions. Any guesses on who that anonymous journalist that he's quoting in the lead graph of his Praying for Jamal Khashoggi column is?
Himself?
No, it was in fact Jamal Khashoggi, who, he is still alive, he just released another quote that he made anonymously that might piss off his captors. I don't think that Saudi journalist, who was also a friend, would mind if I now identify him. His name was Jamal Khashoggi.
Can we get everything?
What the hell is the matter with
Yeah,
this
let's just
guy?
publish everything Khashoggi said off the record.
That's
I don't think he'll mind,
Un-
especially if he's in a prison in Riyadh
you know
right
how,
now.
like the cravenness that you have to have, where Friedman is like, I'm going to print this because it's going to be a cool way for me to open my store, my column, and without contemplating like, oh, wait a second, is this going to be helpful or hurtful to him if he's still alive, or if he has any relatives, or I mean, that is stunning. And you know what would be nice? If maybe there was somebody at the New York Times who had the balls to be an editor and say, hey, wait a second. Thomas, let me give you a second chance. Let me give you a second bite at this apple.
You know,
yeah,
and
who's
I don't
gonna
think
do
it's
that?
popular.
Barry Weiss?
It's not popular to say this if the New York Times editorial had the balls to do that. But you know what? I'm going to stick my head up and say, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
The op-ed page is
I get so much
canceled.
balls, I whisper it.
Just burn it down and start over.
I get so much balls. I whisper the word.
I have so much balls that I run interference for a 30-something lunatic
I'm
who
letting
is
it all
literally
hang out there.
feted by the Davos
Do you
and
understand?
Silicon Valley.
Do you understand if I lose this job, I'm going to have to go home to my heiress wife and just continue to live off the billions of dollars that she has.
Literally from like a chain of Foot Lockers. Jesus Christ.